It is. So we have seen how to connect the Linux machine, and we have also seen how to connect the Windows machine as well. How to launch the Windows machine. So today we are going to focus on storage. Today we are going to see what are the different storages available and what is in the storage and everything we are going to. As of now, we know while we creating an instance, we have an option called configuration storage. So which I said, it is your hard disk part, which is your hard disk. By default for Linux machine, we have got 8 GB. By default for Linux machine, we have got 8 GB. For Windows machine, we have got 30 GB. If you want, I can show again. So log into your AWS console. So click on log back in. So here, if you click on the CC2, if you click on the CC2, maybe click on this instances, click on this instances, click on the launch the instance, click on launch the instance. If you scroll down, right, if you scroll down, the last part is configuration storage. See here, it is your hard disk part. For the Linux machine, it is giving you 8 GB by default. For if you select Windows, maybe it will change as 30 GB. See here, it is changing to 30 GB hard disk. That is the storage. This part only we are going to see in depth. Now, from today, we are going to focus on this part alone and what are the different types of storages, what is inbuilt storage, everything we are going to see in detail. So this is the part, the configuration storage we are going to see. Storage as of now, think it is your hard disk. As of now, think it is your hard disk part. Hard disk part. Maybe you can also call as pen drive. Can also called as Google Cloud or iCloud, anything, the storage where you are going to store your files, where you are going to store your files, maybe in cloud or maybe in a hard disk or maybe in pen drive or an external hard disk or anywhere you can store, anywhere you can store. It is a general term. It is called storage. Storage is the place where we are going to store your data or the files, whichever we want. So there is hard disk, pen drive, and there is a Google Cloud. Hard disk, pen drive, and there is a Google Cloud. Okay. So why we are seeing the storage? Already you have said it is the hard disk. Then what is in depth in knowing about this hard disk? It is a basic thing. Every machine will have an hard disk. Then why you are teaching in depth about this configuration storage alone? So see here, by default, while creating an instance, by default, while creating an instance, you will automatically get this default storage. While creating an instance, you will get one default storage. You will get one default storage that is called this configured storage. That is called this configured storage. But further, we are going to see one topic called EBS, elastic block storage. What is in the EBS? What is difference from this? Later we will see. Later we will see what is the difference between this default storage and this, and again the EBS storage. Okay. This configuration storage, it is a default storage. It will be coming whenever you create an instance. The same thing we have faced, right? So whenever you create one Windows machine, we got the 30 GB hard disk. We got the 30 GB hard disk. That is the same thing. By default, while creating an instance, there will be a default storage. There will be a default storage. It will be automatically allocated. Default storage will be allocated automatically. There are two types of storage. There are two types of storage. One is ephemeral storage. First one is ephemeral storage. Second one is persistent storage. Second one is persistent storage. There are two types of storage. One is ephemeral storage, and other one is persistent storage. One is ephemeral storage, and other one is persistent storage. Two types. What is ephemeral? What is persistent? We would have heard, like in childhood, like RAM is an ephemeral storage. We would have heard this term while reading the schooling and all. We would have heard this term like RAM is an ephemeral storage because it is a temporary memory. It is a temporary memory. Each and every time when you restart your machine, the RAM memory will be deallocated or deleted. But if your hard disk will not be deleted. If your hard disk will not be deleted. So persistent, ephemeral. So if I go for ephemeral, so if I go for ephemeral, so if I go for ephemeral storage, I go for ephemeral storage, it is faster. It is faster, but it is not reliable. It is faster, but it's not reliable. It's not reliable. That means anytime your data may lost. Anytime your data may lost. If anything happens to your machine, if anything happens to your machine, the entire data will crash. Entire data will be crashed. If anything happens to your machine, entire data will be crashed. Entire data will be cached. The same thing, which is a RAM. Is a main example for this is a RAM only. Main example for this is a RAM or temporary data. I can even say it is a temporary data. Can even say it is a temporary data. Example is RAM because RAM is nothing but it is mainly in order to boost up your system performance. It is mainly in order to boost up your system performance. So, but the memory or the data which is available in the RAM will be deleted whenever you restart your machine. Whenever you restart your machine, the data which is available in your memory will be deleted. Let's take one example. Once you shut down and logs in again in your Windows machine, first time if you open the Chrome, right, it will take some time in order to configure all the settings and then it will open completely. But if you close again, it will, if you open it again, this time all the data will be configured immediately and your browser will open as soon as possible. When compared to the previous time, now the browser performance will be very high and the speed of the browser will be very high because all those configuration has been done and it has been stored in the memory which is in RAM. So this time what will happen? RAM is the temporary data. When you shut down your system, the entire data deletes. It is called temporary data. It is called temporary data. I can even call it as ephemeral storage. But it is faster. We are going to agree that it is faster, but it is not reliable. If anything or any shutdown or if your machine crashes or if your OS crashes, this thing will be deleted. The data which is available in deleted. Data which is available is deleted. There is one term called tightly coupled and loosely coupled. There is one term called tightly coupled and loosely coupled. What is tightly coupled? What is loosely coupled? Next thing we are going to see what is tightly. See here. Maybe this is here EC2. It is here EC2. So under your EC2, there is one default storage. It is called your configure storage. Maybe I'll consider this is my EC2. Whenever you create an EC2, we will be getting one storage. We will be getting one storage. So it is your default storage. This EC2 and this storage is tightly coupled. Without the storage, you cannot create an EC2. Without the storage, you cannot create an EC2. You cannot skip the storage. That is the reason it is both are tightly coupled. This EC2 and storage are tightly coupled. Okay, I want to push. So if anything happens to this EC2, the storage also will be crashed, right? Because inside this EC2 only the storage is available. Because inside this EC2 only the storage is available. Let's take one example. Let's take one example. You have a laptop. If a laptop falls down or if your OS crashes, the data, maybe if you throw your laptop, right, first thing it will affect your hardware. First thing it is affect your hard disk. So you might lose your hard disk data. For instance, let's say one example. What if I have an external storage? What if I have an external storage? As of now, it is an EPS. I can name it as external storage. We are going to see about EPS. As of now, it is an external storage. What happened if you have one external storage connected to your EC2? Even though this machine has been crashed, the data available in this external storage is safe with us. is safe with us. You can also call it as, you can also either you can call it as pen drive, or you can call it as Google Drive, or you can call it as like external hard disk, anything you can call it over. Everything is the same. Anything you can call it over. So EBS is an external storage where we are connected with our EC2. Even though if your machine crashes or anything happens to your machine, the data available in this storage, it is safe. But the data available in this storage, it is not reliable, because if this machine crashes, it will lose. But if you store in an external pen drive, definitely, right, in real time also, if anything happens, previously itself, you would have a backup all your mobile. So for example, if you have a mobile phone, from today, if you're not like if your mobile phone is not working, or any other software issue, or if you even lost, you can take an even lost. So all the pics, all the messages has been already uploaded, saved in the Google Drive. So even though if your mobile is lost, you can retrieve all those messages, all those apps, everything from your drive. So that is an external storage. All your data is safe, even though if your machine crashes, even though if your phone is lost, even though if your phone OS has gone, even though the display has gone, everything, it is safe. The data are safe in a drive. The data is safe in an external storage. So here it is loosely coupled. This EC2 and this EPS, it is loosely coupled. But this EC2 and this storage, it is tightly coupled. This EC2 and this storage, it is tightly coupled, but we have an external storage called EPS that is loosely coupled. This EC2 and this one is loosely coupled, so that it is reliable. It is reliable, but this storage, it is not reliable. But this storage is not reliable, but this one is reliable. But this one is reliable because it is externally connected. Even though if this machine has been affected, your data is safe here. Even though your machine is affected, your data is safe with us. That is the reason it is tightly coupled. Then obviously, earlierly there is a default storage which will be automatically selected. Now what happened, right? This configure storage itself is a part of EBS only. See here, it is a part of EBS general purpose only. EBS general purpose. This itself on EBS only. This is the what happened, right? They have made it as EBS default service. They have made it as EBS default storage. But even though it is an EBS default storage, it is inside my EC2. Again, it is not reliable. We need to connect externally, then only it is reliable. So if I come here, what is meant by persistent storage? If I come to know what is meant by persistent storage, persistent storage is nothing but it is reliable because it is loosely connected. EC2 and this external storage are loosely connected or loosely coupled. You can say it as loosely coupled, and it is the permanent data. You don't want to worry about this data loss and all because everything is safe. You can call it as external hard disk or external storage. It is an external storage. Consider example like hard disk, external hard disk, hard disk, or even pen drive or any Google Cloud as well. Even pen drive or any Google Cloud as well. So guys, if there is any doubt, let me know. As of now, you are clear, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. Others?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now I will enter into the topic called EBS. What is EBS? What is EBS? EBS is nothing but it is one of the service or one of the feature for the EC2. It is the feature for the EC2, not the service, not the service. It is an elastic block storage. Elastic block storage. EBS is nothing but E for elastic, B for block, and S for storage. It is called elastic block storage. And we know it is an external storage. We know it is an external storage. And even though if the machine crashes, even though if the machine crashes, our data is safe. Our data is safe with EBS. So that is the reason we are moving from the default EBS storage to the external EBS storage. That is the reason we are moving from default EBS storage to the external storage. We can call it as persistent storage. We can call this EBS as a persistent storage and is also loosely coupled. It is also loosely coupled. It has been connected externally so that even though if your machine crashes, our data is safe. Our data is safe. This is what EBS. EBS is nothing but it is a feature. If you search here, if you search for EC2, it is here, it is coming under services. EC2 is one of the services. The same thing, I will search for EBS. See, EBS it is not coming under services. Volume it is called EBS. It is coming under features. So remember, EBS is not a service. It is a feature for EC2. See here, EC2 feature, EC2 feature, EC2 feature. It is a feature for EC2. So EBS, it is also called as volume. Called as volumes. How EC2 is called as instances? How EC2 is called as instances? By the same way, EBS is also called as volume. By the same way, EBS is also called as volume. So if someone says, how do you know, how do we create a volume? Which means they are mentioning an EBS. Do you know to create an instance? Which means they are mentioning as EC2. So don't get confused. Like don't expect the term EC2, EBS and all. Just remember this term, like instance, volumes and all. Volumes is same as EBS. Instance is same as EC2. Remember this. So next we have types of volume. Next we have types of volume. So earlierly we have one hard disk like magnetic disk drive. Earlierly we have one hard disk like MDD, which is a magnetic disk drive, and no organization are into this disk drive. Currently, no one is using. Now, everyone now before everyone have been into this HDD, which is a hard disk drive, which is a hard disk drive. Previously, we would have also been the hard disk drive. Now also, most of the people are using this HDD hard disk only. Later, we got a new term called SSD. Later, we got a new term called SSD, which is a solid state drive, which is a solid state drive. Now, right, everyone are moving into SSD because of the advanced performance. Because of the advanced performance. Even if you go to Amazon, right? If I go to Amazon, if I search for any HP laptop or any laptop, so see here, it is 256 GB SSD. It is also 256 GB SSD. And this one, see here, 256 GB SSD. And this one is also 256 GB SSD. So everyone, see here, it is a 512 GB SSD. So everyone are moving into SSD due to the performance. So what is the difference between SSD and SSD? Hard disk drive, normally, earlierly we were using this hard disk drive only. Before 2 to 3 years, everyone are using this hard disk drive only. But the performance will be slow. When you restart your machine, it will take more time in order to restart itself. In order to restart and load all the apps, it will definitely take the time. But if you use SSD, right, the performance will be very high. If you restart, even within a fraction of a second, your system will be restarted. Even within a fraction of a second, your system will be restarted. Let me check my machine, whether it is SSD or HDD. So maybe I'll just put the properties. So my mission is also what to say. Here this SSD, which is a standard disk drive, or it is also called as solid disk drive as well. Also show here. Here it is an STD. Either it is a standard disk drive or it is a solid disk drive. My one is also STD because of the performance. I have just upgraded to STD. Even you can also upgrade your same machine. STD hard disk to SSD the same machine. You don't want to buy a new laptop and all. If you go and change, definitely. For example, if your hard disk cost is 2,500, definitely your STD cost will be 4,500 because if it is cost is high, definitely the performance is high. The cost is low, definitely the performance will be slow. Obviously, when compared to this SSD, SSD will be performance high and also the cost will be high. Let it come to later again. So this is the types of volume. So we are not going to focus on this. We are going to focus on this two only. So then I'm going to a topic called data. There are two types of data. One is cold data and other one is hot data. What is cold data and what is hot data? That is the first thing we are going to see. What is mean by cold data and what is mean by hot data? Cold data is nothing but infrequently accessed data. Cold data is nothing but it is an infrequently accessed data. It is called cold data. If this data will not be accessed frequently, this data will not be accessed frequently, or we don't use this data often. For example, in your laptop, if you have 10 movies to watch, again, we won't watch that movies and all daily. We won't watch that movies and all daily. Maybe the recently released movie we may watch. That is the frequently accessed data. Or the movies, whichever it is very much like you love that movie, we might often see that movie. But the rest 9 movies, we won't even watch. It will be simply in our hard disk. The wastage of space. It is simply available in our hard disk. We won't even delete, or we won't even use, or we won't even see the movie as well. Only my favorite movie, I will come again, I will repeat it again, I will watch this, and we are going to watch this series or many movies. But the rest of the 9 movies are the infrequently accessed data. Infrequently accessed data, then why you are wasting your storage? If you are not going to access this frequently, then why you are wasting money for storage in AWS? For us, we are wasting the storage space. For that 9 movie space, I can even store any other my favorite movie 9 movies, right? Instead of wasting that 9 movies, I am not even touching that movies. I can delete those movies. I can include any other storage over there. I can utilize those space. Here in AWS, you need to optimize the cost. You need to optimize the cost of your data. So if the data is infrequently accessed, so definitely, like you are wasting your money while storing there, right? Definitely, you are wasting your money because everything your storage doesn't cost. Every data you are storing is cost here. Every data is storing here, cost data, cost here. Then why you are wasting your money in storing the infrequently accessed data? Again, I will show how to save this, how to optimize the cost and all. But cold data is nothing but infrequently accessed data. Then hot data means it is obviously the vice versa, which is a frequently accessed data. Obviously, it is a frequently accessed data. So there are two data. One is cold data, another one is hot data. Cold data is nothing but it is an infrequently accessed data. Hot data is nothing but often you are using the data. Often you are using the data that is called frequently accessed data. That is called frequently accessed data. So now again, I'll again come into this HDD. Now again come into this HDD. HDD is nothing but I already said it is an hard disk drive. Already said it is an hard disk drive. Under this HDD only, we have two types. Under this HDD, we have two types. Again, I will just repeat it again. There are types of volumes. If we come into types of volumes, we have magnetic disk drive, HDD, and SSD. Magnetic disk drive, you don't need to worry, just throw it out. There are two types only. One is HDD and SSD. There are two types of data. Before moving into HDD and SSD, there are two types of data. One is cold data, one is hard data. Cold data is nothing but it is an infrequently accessed data, whereas hard data is nothing but it is a frequently accessed data. Now, HDD has this cold and hard drive. This is common. This data is common to all the drives, all the volumes. If it comes to HDD, there are two types. Again, here in HDD, we have two types. One is cold HDD and other one is throughput. Another one is throughput. Maybe you can even consider it is a hard data. Maybe you can even consider it is a hard data. There is a throughput HDD, or you can call it as hard data. We already know cold data is nothing but it is an infrequently accessed data. It is a nothing but yes, it is an infrequently accessed data. Is nothing but your cold data. Whereas throughput, what is mean by throughput? Already said it is something similar to hard data, but what is here? What is mean by throughput? So then I'll come here. Throughput is nothing but amount of data transferring per second. Amount of data transferring per second. It is based upon the factor of performance for the data transfer per second. This based upon the factor of data performance per second. Maybe, for example, if you want to copy the files or move the files from here to here, definitely it will take some time, right? That is called amount of data. For example, if you are moving 100 MB to here to the external drive, it will be storage in the form of, for example, let's take an example. We are moving some 100 MB file, moving here 100 MB file in the rate of 20 Mbps per second. 20 Mbps per second. Then in how many seconds the 100 MB will be transferred? Guys, there is on 100 MB file in 20 Mbps speed you are transferring. Then how
5
many
seconds?
So it will be transferred in the 5 seconds. That transformation, right? It is called throughput. The amount of data, how much amount of data it is transferring, whether it is 10 Mbps speed or 100 Mbps speed or the 1000 Mbps speed. Normally, even if we copy, right? For example, if I am moving any files from this, maybe I'll just copy and I'll just move to the another drive. If I paste it over here, see here, it is calculating. So this amount of data I'm going to transfer. The amount of data transferred per second, that is called throughput. How much amount of data has been transferred, that is called throughput. For example, if you are transferring 1 GB file from EC2 to the EBS, how much amount of data per second it is transferring? Either 20 MB or it is transferring like 1 GB per second. So here it is the data is 20 MB of data is transferring per second. For example, again, if I have 1000 MB, maybe it is in the form of 100 Mbps per second. 100 Mbps second. Now it will take 10 seconds. Correct. Now it will take 10 seconds because 100 Mbps speed. Here, if you ask you throughput, you need to answer 100 Mbps per second is the amount of data which is being transferred. That is called throughput. So cold data is nothing but it is an infrequently accessed data, whereas throughput is nothing but the amount of data transferred per second. Amount of data transferred per second. It is mainly in order to get the factor of performance for the data transfer per second. The amount of data transfer per second, it is called throughput. You don't want to remember the big level of definitions and all. I won't give any Google definitions and all. Everything based upon the real experience and real time words. Maybe tomorrow I may repeat the different sentence, but the core concept and the meaning will be same. Tomorrow, if you ask me, I may modify this sentence itself, but the concept is same. The amount of data transferred per second. That's all you want to remember. You don't want to remember more than this. In interview itself, if they ask you, just to say what is meant by throughput. Throughput is nothing but it is the amount of data transferred per second. That is called throughput. That is called throughput. So in STD, we have cold STD as well as in throughput. So it is an infrequently accessed data, and we have throughput is nothing but amount of data being transferred per second. It is called throughput. Okay. Now I'll go for SSD. SSD we already know it is an solid state drive, and again the performance will be very high. Again the performance will be very high. The performance of this SSD definitely it is very high and compared to HDD, and also the cost is very high when compared to HDD. Also the cost is very high when compared to HDD as well. Okay, obviously, if the cost is high, the performance is going to be high. Obviously, if the cost is high, the performance also it is going to be high. But it is reliable. But it is reliable. You can believe this SSD. You can believe this SSD storage. You can believe this SSD storage. Under this, there are two types. How HDD has two types: whole data, whole HDD, and throughput. By the same way, SSD also have two types. One is general purpose, one is general purpose, and other one is provisional IOPS. Another one is provisional IOPS. Another one is provisional IOPS. So there are two types. One is general purpose, and other one is provisional IOPS. What is general purpose? My next question is, what is meant by general purpose? What is meant by general purpose? So you are handling some application. Maybe, as I said in my initial session, I'm going to develop one new app, maybe new Facebook app. In my website, there is moderate traffic. There is the moderate traffic, not the huge traffic, not the high number of customers hitting in. There is only moderate number of customers are hitting in. There is a moderate spike in my application. In that case, we can choose this general purpose. We can choose the general purpose. It is less cost when compared to IOPS. It is less cost and compared to IOPS. IOPS means, I will say, provisional IOPS. IOPS means what I will say. As of now, it is less cost when compared to this provisional IOPS. It is less cost when compared to this provisional IOPS. Guys, again, in 3 minutes, this meeting will be automatically disconnected. Again, you can rejoin immediately. Okay. Right, is that fine?
Pardon?
Okay, Satish. Okay.
Yeah, actually, in 3 minutes, this meeting will be disconnected. Immediately, you can rejoin back.
Sure.
Oh. There are two types of, in SSD, there are two types. One is general purpose, another one is provisional IOPS. For example, in your application, maybe I'll just put, this is your application. Maybe it is your application graph. It is your application graph. By this time, so maybe the traffic of your web application is moderate. There is no, maybe the traffic will be like this. The traffic of your web application, maybe sometimes it may go high, or most of the time it will be in a moderate performance only. Like most of the time, say if I announce any deals or if I announce any new feature, at that time maybe the performance will be high. Most of the time it will be moderate. Not the most of the time it will be moderate. In this case, I can choose the general purpose. In this case, I can choose the general purpose because my website performance is moderate. I don't want any high performance system at all. I don't want any high performance system at all. My website performance is moderate. My traffic is moderate. I don't have that much spike in my application. At that time, you can go for general purpose. Whereas your moderate, your traffic means the user traffic. That much of traffic or that much of customers are going to hit your site. That is called traffic. In a normal term, what is mean by road traffic? Road traffic, everyone comes into the road like while driving, like when everyone engages in the same road, that time we will like there will be a more traffic. That time there will be a more traffic. Here, when everyone hits the site, that is also called as web traffic. Maybe I can even put as web traffic. It is not a road traffic, it is a web traffic. So everyone hitting the site. That is called web traffic, maybe a spike in the application. Spike means this is called spike. Sometimes your users may spike out. Sometimes your users may spike in. So which means sometimes your application may receive more customers. Sometimes you may not receive more customers. So it is called general purpose. For this reason, you need to choose the general purpose. The next one is provisional IOPS. So next one is provisional IOPS. IOPS, IO means it is input slash output. IO means it is input slash output. That is called IOPS, which means input output. Input output means, guys, I will disconnect and then you can join back.